Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm back with another video here, and today I really wanted to talk to you guys. I came to like a crazy realization. Honestly, I'm a few weeks now. I haven't been keeping track about how long I have not been smoking, but I know not smoking has cleared my brain, and I've been coming to a ton of realizations lately. I've been literally realizing how much scarcity and fear has taken over my life, and how it has paralyzed me from taking up opportunities, and just being able to live the life that I want. I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about this today. So I attribute this to literally getting back into meditation on top of not smoking weed. It's created a ton of clarity for me. And it was like in that moment where I realized, like, oh my gosh, like what had happened. I don't remember what had happened right now. I was probably going down a rabbit hole of despair and something in regards to fear in that moment of meditation. I think I was thinking about like financials. And then I literally sat and I paused in the middle of that meditation, and I realized, like, oh my gosh, I'm allowing this thing to paralyze me in this moment where I'm supposed to be able to create clarity for myself. But at the same time, identify things like this, right? Like, this crap affects me in so many different ways, like going into different social settings, especially if I don't have control over the situation. I absolutely malfunction, whether it's financials, anything like personal, like self-esteem, different opportunities it has blocked me from, now that I'm like, again, hindsight 2020. But I think I want to give you guys like a backstory about me so you guys could really understand where it might have stemmed from. Like, where's my beginning and how'd I get here? So you could pretty much say I didn't have privilege growing up. Literally, my mom was the first one in our family to get here to the States from her country back in the 80s. And being here, anybody who's foreign and watching this video right now knows being in this country without papers limits your opportunities. So we came from the struggle, literally from the struggle. Fast forward a couple years, so I come around 1992, baby, right? And my mom decides that when I was born, pretty much at around 10 months old, the best thing to do was to send me back to live with my grandmother. And in that time, I actually felt like that was a great idea to do. But once you start kind of learning a little more about the story, and now that I'm looking back, I realized that that might be one of the parts where my trauma stems from. Let's get into it. I think a lot of that transition actually ended up being where a lot of my trauma stemmed from. See, I ended up coming back here when I was 6. And back in my mother's country, I had my grandmother, who pretty much was my mother at that time. I had my uncle involved in my life. To then coming here at 6 and meeting my mother for the first time, and my father wasn't in my life at all. And just feeling very early on things were taken away from me. Like, I lost my mother. My grandmother dropped me off here. I just met my mother for the first time, and she went back to her country. To add even more like insult to injury during that period of time, like, and for, again, I'll be coming from a family new to the States. My mom wasn't a citizen. She had to take whatever job opportunities were available to her. So we struggled bad, yo. Like, we were literally dead broke most of my elementary school years, all the way through high school. We would have some times where things would be great, but it was at a point where, like, even family was tired of taking us in because we were always in some financial bind. I found myself at one point, we were living down in Augusta, Georgia. I remember this was actually one of the best times in my life. I was literally in Augusta, Georgia, living in a trailer park with like this military militia. At one point, a mile down the street, the Ku Klux Klan were burning crosses. Ended the militia, the people that we were living in with in the militia, ended up moving, and I ended up living with someone who did like 20 years for some sort of child abuse or something like that. So I was, and at this time I'm like 9, but we had nowhere else to go. So just to kind of like give you like an understanding of like some of the circumstances we were finding ourselves in, like, throughout my life. On top of that, I was the kid in the class that had the funny accent, right? Coming from, again, having a foreign accent. And then also, I was the only freaking disabled kid in my entire class, my entire grade, and most of my experience in school here, period, anywhere I went. So I think there was a lot of built-in circumstances that kind of came together there. And that, I'm pretty sure, is where a lot of my pre-programmed fears and scarcity kind of set into play. And honestly, dude, this was all just an investment in the space of fear, judgment,
being afraid to let people down, and really was a consistent investment for years that until recently I was able to put like a finger on it, right? No pun intended. But it wasn't until recently that I was able to put a finger on it and really start understanding what this has been doing to my life. But I think some of the steps and some of the things that I do on a consistent basis has helped me start working through that stuff. And it's going to be like consistent things that will allow me to become the person that I am meant to be and continue to like grow. So I always want to kind of share these types of things and pass it down the line. Maybe there's something you could take from it, right? So let's get into it. I want to talk about the 3 things that I'm doing consistently to help me work through that and find my growth. Obviously, the first one I've already kind of talked about is meditation. Meditation, for a while there, I struggled with being consistent with it. I've gotten so much better with it now, and it's been a crucial part, like I mentioned earlier, about just creating clarity for myself and creating like happy moments, really just to tune out all the noise and being able to like tap in and get that dopamine hit. And it's a crucial, I think I'm at a point in my life where I picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down enough that I know, and I've seen enough of the benefits to know that it's a mainstay in my life. That's something that I would always recommend. You got to be able to find a way to tune out all the noise. We have so many thoughts going through our mind on a consistent basis. I think I read a study that said the average person has about 70,000 thoughts a day. And that I can imagine is not even accounting for like the fact of like people using social media and things of that nature. So you can only imagine how many things are running through your mind in one go. So it is so vitally important to be able to take a moment to kind of tune out all the noise and focus on yourself. Just like focus on yourself. So that's my step 1. That's step 1. Always. Another one that I would suggest pretty much starting today is just getting an overall mindset shift. It wasn't until probably within the last year that I realized how much my words kind of mean in relation to kind of creating my thoughts and my reality. I was reading a few books. I think one of the biggest ones that I read last year or the year before that I've gone back to, I definitely came back to it last year, but You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza really kind of hit that one home for me. But the words you say, invest into the thoughts that you think will ultimately change that for you, and you will be able to start creating the life that you desire. Step 3, take small actions. Learn from me. I am someone just like probably many people that are going to end up seeing this video in some capacity, a perfectionist. I hate to start something if there's even a percentage of a chance that I feel like it's not going to come out absolutely perfect. I oftentimes will not even start. I don't even want to start it. Screw it. Fuck it. Throw it in the trash. It's done. It's done before it begins. And now and again, I've learned that it's those small steps that like they build up, they accumulate, they turn into something. It's like the dust ball, like it collects, and the next thing you know, it's a freaking avalanche. Maybe that would have been a better example right there. Snow turning avalanche, whatever, into like a freaking whatever, right? But you get what I'm saying. The point is just start. Even if it's small, it can move you forward, and it can kind of get you again into that best version of yourself that you want to be. So that's something that's probably been the hardest one, but it's the one that I've been getting into so much more consistently. And it's the one that I know is ultimately going to pay the most dividends out of everything I've mentioned probably at this point. Now, granted, they all work together. They all go in conjunction with each other. So I feel like for me personally, I can't do one without the other. But that was the step that I was missing for a long time, is just taking those small steps. And quite frankly, like I feel like just in a short period of time, like my overall confidence has gone up. My will to succeed has gone up because of these small changes in my life. It's pretty much amazed me at how much change I've been able to make in such a short time, just in my mental space, my physical space, in identifying even like goals that I'm going to have like and achieve this year, and creating a future. For a long time, a lot of depression and negative thoughts kept me from even understanding what I wanted for a future, or even being able to visualize of a future for myself. So I know I'm in a good place now. Honestly, though, it starts from within. Just understanding, get to a space where you feel like you have worth, and understanding that your life does have meaning, which is it's new for me, but I'm loving it. I'm embracing it. personally. And if you're struggling with this out there, I hope that soon you will be embracing it, and maybe some of these steps here might be able to kind of work out for you. That's my 2 cents on it. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to have people jump into the comments and kind of tell me a little bit about their experiences, what their journey's been like, if you've dealt with things like what I've dealt with in my life. And tell me where you are now. Tell me if this is kind of a point you're at, if these are some things that you're implementing, things that you had dabbled with before, what works for you just in general. Get in the comments. The comments are open. I'll be back with another video soon. Thank you for taking the time to like sit here and listen to me vent and listen to me kind of put my 2 cents out there again on things that have helped me and started to change my life. That's just kind of what I'm here for. So I appreciate you guys. I will catch you in the next video.